It's just after 2 a.m. when a patrol car's red and blue lights cut through the darkness of a quiet residential street. Inside the beam of the headlights stands a man with blood-stained pants, no shirt, and a nervous explanation. "I cut my hand," he tells the officer, "but there are no cuts, no wounds, just blood." At the time, police let him go. Less than 10 hours later, officers would walk into a home and discover a scene so violent, so deeply disturbing, it would shock an entire community and raise one haunting question. What if that traffic stop had ended differently? To understand what happened in Warren, Ohio, investigators would later look back several months to August 1999 and to the life of a woman named Rosalind Taylor. Rosalind was 40 years old, living in Hubbard, Ohio. Friends described her as independent and private, someone who kept to herself and avoided trouble. There was nothing in her daily routine to suggest she was in danger. But sometime in mid-August, Rosalind vanished. 2 days later, police responded to a report of a suspicious vehicle parked on a street corner. Inside was Rosalind Taylor's car, partially burned. In the driver's seat, officers discovered her body. An autopsy revealed bruising, blunt force injuries, and trauma to the neck, consistent with strangulation. While the official cause of death was determined to be carbon monoxide poisoning from the fire, the physical evidence told a darker story. Investigators concluded Rosalind had been beaten, raped, and assaulted before the fire was set, while she was still inside the vehicle. The case stunned Hubbard, but at the time, there were few leads. Then, 2 months later, another crime would bring a name into focus. On the night of October 11th, 1999, Stanley Adams was attending a drug party in Warren, Ohio. Witnesses later told police that Adams appeared restless and agitated. Sometime after 11 p.m., Adams ran out of money. "I'll be back," he reportedly told others. "I just need to get some cash." He left the party and disappeared into the night. What happened next unfolded inside a home Adams knew well, a house he had once lived in. Inside were 43-year-old Esther Cook and her 12-year-old daughter, Ashley. Esther was a mother, a caretaker, and someone who believed she was safe in her own home. Ashley was a child, preparing for another school week, unaware of what was about to happen. Investigators believe Adams forced his way inside. A violent struggle erupted near the staircase. Esther was stabbed and bludgeoned, her body later found at the base of the stairs. The wounds told investigators she fought back, desperately. Upstairs, in Ashley's bedroom, the horror continued. Adams sexually assaulted the 12-year-old girl before strangling her with an electrical cord. The room showed signs of ransacking. Money was taken. By the time Adams left the house, 2 lives were gone. Just before 1 a.m., Adams returned to the drug party. Witnesses noticed immediately. He was covered in blood. He had cash in his hands. No one asked questions. At approximately 2 a.m., Warren police stopped Adams' vehicle. Officers noted he was shirtless, with blood visible on his pants. "What happened?" an officer asked. "I cut myself," Adams replied. Officers searched for injuries. They found none. Despite their suspicions, Adams was released. Hours later, everything changed. Around noon, a family friend arrived at the Cook residence. When no one answered the door, they entered and found Esther and Ashley's bodies. Police immediately connected the discovery to the traffic stop from earlier that morning. Detectives retraced Adams' movements. Neighbors reported seeing a vehicle matching Adams' car near the home during the time frame of the murders. When police seized the car, they found blood on the steering wheel and pedals, as if someone had driven in a panic. Forensic teams collected DNA from the crime scene. The results came back conclusive. The DNA matched Stanley Adams. When questioned, Adams denied killing Esther and Ashley, but under interrogation, he made a critical admission. He told investigators he had burned his clothes. A search of his property revealed charred remains of clothing in the backyard. The evidence was overwhelming. As detectives reviewed Adams' background, another case resurfaced: the murder of Rosalind Taylor. The timeline, the violence, the method, everything aligned. Outcome and aftermath. In 2001, Stanley Adams stood trial for the murders of Esther Cook and her daughter Ashley. The courtroom heard testimony about the traffic stop, the DNA evidence, the burned clothing, and the brutality of the crimes. The jury returned a verdict of guilty. Adams was sentenced to death for the Cook murders. He also received an additional 15 years to life sentence for the rape and murder of Rosalind Taylor. That same year, Adams was admitted into the Chillicothe Correctional Institution. Prosecutors later revealed Adams had been an ex-felon at the time of the killings, with prior convictions for theft and gross sexual imposition. Though never charged, Adams was named a suspect in multiple unsolved cases, raising concerns about how many crimes may never be fully accounted for. His execution was scheduled for February 16, 2022, but it didn't happen. Governor Mike DeWine issued a reprieve, delaying the execution first to 2025, then again to February 16, 2028. As of today, Stanley Adams remains on death row. 3 lives were lost in less than 3 months. A woman abducted, beaten, and burned inside her own car. A mother killed in her home. A child whose life ended before it truly began. And it all intersected at a single moment. A routine traffic stop where blood was seen, questions were asked, and a man walked free. The case of Stanley Adams is not just about brutality. It's about missed chances, warning signs, and a thin line between suspicion and certainty. Because sometimes the most haunting question isn't who did it. It's when could it have been stopped?